If you have been following along with our TrueNAS journey, then you know we have already covered quite a lot. We started by installing TrueNAS. In our case, we did it inside Proxmox. If you installed it directly on bare metal, the process is almost the same, the only difference being the virtualization part. After that, we configured the network, created datasets, added users, and set up shares. If you missed any of those steps but would like to watch them, the links will be available in the description and also in the I button on the top. Today we're going to take the next step and see how we can deploy applications in TrueNAS. While doing that, we will also look at a common issue related to the system update. This issue gets solved once we prepare the system for application deployment, so we will cover that as well. So let's get started and set everything up step by step. If you have ever tried updating your TrueNAS system by going to System and then Update, you might have noticed a problem. Instead of showing available updates, it gives a validation error saying it cannot connect to host. The same thing happens when we try to deploy apps. If we open the Apps tab and click on Check Available Apps, the list is empty. And when we try refreshing the catalog, it fails again with a message failed to clone repo. So before we can move ahead, let's fix this issue. For that, we need to adjust the network settings. Let's go to the Network tab, and in the Global Configuration section, click on Settings. Here we need to add DNS servers. I'll add Google's DNS servers as they are fast and commonly preferred. In name server 1, I'll enter 8.8.8.8, and in name server 2, I'll enter 8.8.4.4. Along with that, we also need to add the IP address gateway, which should be the gateway of your own network. That's all the configuration required. Now let's click on Save. Once this is done, try checking for updates again. This time TrueNAS is able to connect to the server successfully, and if there are updates available, we can install them directly from here without any issue. Now let's switch back to the Apps tab. If we click on Check Available Apps, you can see some of them already loading. To bring in the complete list, we can simply click on Refresh Catalog, and now all the applications provided by TrueNAS are available for us to use. That takes care of the issue. And with that fixed, we can move on to the next step, which is deploying our first application. But before we start deploying, let me explain something important. These applications will need access to storage where their volumes can be saved. We can use any of the storage pools for this. The benefit of using a storage pool is that you can also take snapshots and use other features that TrueNAS provides. For this demonstration, I have already cleared all the datasets from the storage pool, so things are easier to follow. If I go to the Datasets tab, you can see there is only the parent dataset and nothing else inside it. Now let's go back to the Applications tab. Click on Check Available Apps, and let's look for something we can host. Here we have Portainer, which is a great option to start with. Let's open it. Here you'll see a button to set up pool to install. Let's click on it. Now choose your storage pool for the apps, and then click on Choose. The first time you do this, you will see a warning message. It explains that using third-party applications can involve some risk, and in rare cases may result in data loss if you're not sure what you are doing. To continue, check the confirmation box and then click on Agree. After this step, you will be redirected to the Portainer installation page. Here we can set the application name. By default, it is already set to Portainer, but if you want, you can change it. The version number you see here is not the actual Portainer version. There's no need to change it because the system will automatically pull the latest version when it installs. Next, we can choose the image. You'll notice both the Community Edition and the Enterprise Edition are available. I'll go with the Community Edition for now. If you want, you can also use the Business Edition, which actually supports up to 3 nodes for free. If you need to set environment variables, you can do that from this section. Then we have the network configuration, where we define the ports we want to expose. By default, Portainer will be available on port 31015. From here, you can also configure host IPs, tunnel ports, or even HTTP ports. Certificates can also be set in this section, but I'll leave everything as it is. Now we move to the storage configuration, and this is where things get interesting. We have two options, host path and ixVolume. With host path, you define the dataset yourself and provide it as the volume. With ixVolume, TrueNAS automatically creates the volumes for you. The main difference is control. Host path gives you full control over the dataset, while ixVolume is managed by TrueNAS. But in both cases, everything still lives inside your storage pool. So let's proceed with ixVolume for now. Later we will also see how we can use the host path. Here you can enable ACL or add additional storage if you need it. After that, we have the option to configure labels. Then we come to the resource configuration. This is where we define limits for the system. For this TrueNAS setup, we have 2 CPU cores and 4 GB of memory allocated. So these are the main configurations we can set up from this page. For now, let's go ahead and click on Install to proceed. It will take a little time to pull the image and deploy Portainer. Once the process is complete, you'll see it listed under the installed applications. Here you can also check the container port where it is exposed. So let's go ahead and open it in a new tab. To do this, start with HTTPS, then type the IP address of your TrueNAS system, followed by a colon and the port number. Since this is using a self-signed certificate, you'll get a warning. Just click on Advanced, accept the risk, and continue. That will take us to the Portainer installation page. I'll quickly create a user and log in. If you want to know how to configure and use Portainer in detail, I have a full video on that which I've linked in the description. And now we're successfully logged into Portainer. If we go to the containers section, you can see that Portainer itself is already up and running. Only the name will look something like this. Now let's go back to TrueNAS. From here, we can also access the shell. My user does not have permission to use it, but if you are logged in as an admin, you should be able to open it without any issue. Now let's go back again. We can also view the volume mount points. Here you'll notice that the Docker socket is mounted to the container, which is required for Portainer to manage Docker containers. You can also see that the data directory is mounted to /mnt/.ixapps. This is the location where Portainer stores its data. At first, it might look like TrueNAS is storing the volume inside MNT, but not inside the storage pool. It may even seem like the boot drive storage is being used. But that's not the case. Since we chose the storage pool earlier, everything is actually stored inside that pool and then linked to this path. The only difference is that you won't be able to see or directly manage that dataset from TrueNAS. That's the key difference between using host path and ixVolumes. Don't worry, we will check the host path option as well in a moment. For now, let's close this. We can also view the logs here. If you set an update interval, the container logs will automatically refresh and display right on this page. Now let's head back. From here, you can edit the application configuration using the Edit button. You also have quick controls to restart or stop the container. And along with that, you can see a few details about the container as well. Now let's explore the host path volume. But before that, we will also see how to delete a container. To remove it, click on the Delete button. Here I'll check Remove ixVolume, and I'll also check Force Remove ixVolumes just in case. I'll keep the image as it is, since we'll be deploying Portainer again. Now let's click on Delete, and the application will be removed. Now let's deploy Portainer with its volume stored on a specific dataset. For that, the first step is to create the dataset. I'll go to the Datasets tab, and here under the parent dataset, I'll create one specifically for applications. I'll name it Applications, keep the preset as generic, and save it. Inside this, we can create separate datasets for each application. So let me create another one and name it Portainer. Again, I'll keep it as generic and save it. That's all we need to set up on the dataset side. Next, let's head back to the Applications tab. Click on Check Available Apps and search for Portainer. Open it, And this time, instead of asking to set up storage for install, it directly gives us the option to install. Click on Install, and the same installation page will open. I'll keep everything as default and move down to the storage configuration section. Here, select the type as host path and then choose the Portainer dataset we just created. Once that's done, click on Install. Now, Portainer is up and running again. If we check the volumes, we can see that the data directory is now stored on the specific path we defined. Let's also check if we can access this new installation of Portainer. Since this is a fresh install, it will ask us to set it up again, but I won't go through that process right now. Instead, let me show you the datasets. Here on our Portainer dataset, you'll notice an apps icon under the roles column. If we hover the mouse over it, it shows that this dataset is being used by Portainer. And the best part is, now you can take snapshots or use any other dataset features, just like you normally would. So this is how we can deploy applications on TrueNAS. Now you can try deploying other applications the same way and run whatever you need directly inside your TrueNAS system. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to check out the next one where we'll cover another interesting topic. Also, let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to stay updated. And if you face any issues while deploying applications on TrueNAS, you can always join our Discord server for help. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.